Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Detroit Tigers franchise mode here in MLB The Show 21. So in last episode, if you guys didn't catch it, it was pretty much just a roster overview and an overview of the new features and all that stuff here in MLB The Show 21. So yeah, we haven't actually done really that much simulating. We only simmed pretty much throughout the entire spring training just to get up to the start of the season so we could start scouting and stuff and getting prepared for our first draft, which is only in 62 days from this date. Now, before we get to like the draft and all that stuff, probably we do have a few comments to go over. So the first one is from John Grondal. He says Miguel Cabrera's contract is terrible. Get rid of him while you can. And Matthew Boyd. Now, Miguel Cabrera is one of those guys that's been with the team for a long time, so I don't think I'm gonna move him out. Like if I look at our roster, like Miguel Cabrera, his contract, he would be a first baseman, I think, right? Or he's a first baseman. So if we look at his attributes, obviously his stats are not as good as they used to be. Like way back here, he used to put up like 38 homers in a season. Like I think I remember him making like the All-Star game a couple times around that stage. But yeah, nowadays he does not put up nowhere near as much. I think he's signed for like 3 years. Yeah, 3 years at $31 million, which is a lot of money. But he's one of these guys that's been with the team for so long that I don't think it's really reasonable to get rid of him. Like he's kind of like a loyal player, and I would like to keep him with the team for now, just to see what happens, because he's definitely going to make the Hall of Fame at the end of all this. So we're going to hold on to Miguel Cabrera. And also, in addition to that comment, PGW actually says, don't get rid of Miggy. It's a team loyalty. Make it realistic. He's not going anywhere, which is true. So we're going to hold on to Miguel Cabrera, but Matthew Boyd, I could potentially look to trading him away. Matthew Boyd is one of our starting pitchers, I think. Yeah, I think he has arbitration rights, though, at the end of the season, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he has arbitration rights, and then he could hit free agency by 2023. So I don't really know if it's necessary to trade him away, because we could technically have him back next season, and then he could hit free agency in 2023, which wouldn't be that bad of an option. Now, if we wanted to trade him away, we could always trade him away for picks to get more younger pitchers into our system, but I might hold on to him for now. But I think we could always trade him away potentially, like maybe closer to the draft, because I think I'm not going to do a whole lot of simulating in this episode. Like I might go like right before the draft, and in that way I could get your guys' feedback on who we should be drafting and all that sort of thing. Now, if you have a few other comments to go over, the next one is from Troy Mitchell. He says, you need to trade for Kyle Lewis. He would be a great future piece as he's a center fielder for Seattle. Won't do much the first year, but he could be a great building piece. Now, I don't really know who this guy is, so I'm going to actually have to look at other teams' rosters. Which, how do I do this again? This is what happens when you have to go between, like, NHL, and you have to also go between, this game. Okay, so we got to go to center fielders for Seattle. So the Mariners and center fielders. If you're saying Kyle Lewis, he's an A potential prospect, so I think they have probably, like, he probably has a lot of value to an extent with his team. Let's just go suggest trade and see what we'd have to give up. Let's just go all and see what they would want. No trades were found. See, so I don't think it would be really make much sense for Seattle to move somebody like Kyle Lewis, because he's like only 25. He's a 78 already, so he technically could be a really good center fielder at this rate. We could always trade away somebody like Reyes, like he was suggesting, actually, to get him. If you guys think that is realistic to trade away Reyes and like 2 other minor leaguers to get him, maybe we could do that. Now the thing with Reyes is he doesn't have as good potential, so yeah, definitely we would have to add like a couple pieces in, but we do definitely have probably some assets we can move out in AAA or something like that aren't as good. So that's a potential option for a trade for next episode if you guys think it is necessary. Now another comment we have is from Dave Parker. He says, no Spencer Torkelson. Unbelievable. I'd love to start my franchise, but they're missing so many big names. Now I didn't even realize Spencer Torkelson was missing, because I think I've heard of him, and I knew he was one of the top 100 prospects, I think, that were on a list, because somebody linked me to that before. And yeah, I didn't even realize he was not in this, but yeah, that kind of sucks because he's one of our better prospects. But we're not going to be able to use him in this because he's not in this. I think it's because he was still playing in either in university or college in terms of baseball last season. So and then we also have a few other comments. Next one's from Faral Afghani. He says, I'm excited for the series. I find MLB's franchise to be quite more in depth than NHL, and it takes a lot to take in, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty fun, which I totally agree with. This is a very different franchise mode than NHL is, so looking forward to learning a little bit about it. And also one from John Johnson we have for comments. He says, looking forward to this, gonna use it as a test on whether or not to get it. Now if you have an Xbox, it's actually on Game Pass, so you could get it pretty much for free at that stage. So yeah, anyways, let's start scouting some prospects because we had a lot of comments to go through. But yeah, let's look at what's available for our prospects. So I think what we need probably is, like, if we look at our rankings again, like we were saying at the end of last episode, we don't really have great pitching, we don't have great defensive players, we don't have great power or speed, so we probably want to find some good fast players, some good defensive players potentially, and definitely some good pitching and some power. So we're going to send out our scouts. I don't think I'm going to individually scout players, or I could do this for the beginning of the episode. But I think we're just going to send out scouts based on position and stuff. So our best scout for pitchers is our 89 scout, Mr. Will Strangton. So we will send him to pitchers. And I don't know what the skill thing really is. I guess we will leave it at clutch. And yeah, we'll do central region. Just let him scout all those. And Joseph Bliss we will send out for, he's not really that good at positional players either, but he is our best at positional players, so we will we'll assign him to some infield players that are good at speed, and then secondary skill would be power, I think. Or can we just change this and then make it power first? Yeah, we'll make it power first and we'll put speed second, just because that's something we're struggling in. And then we will also probably, yeah, we'll also probably send this guy as positional players, because we have, that way we have 2 scouts doing pitchers and 2 scouts doing positional players. It kind of makes a little bit more sense. So we will assign him to, let's do him speed first and him power first, just to kind of alternate them. So we have 2 guys in Central and 1 guy in International. We should probably have some guys scouting in East. Yeah, there's no scout. Actually, yeah, I should probably have this guy scout like East or West. So we will set this guy to, this guy's actually set to West, which is good. But I'll probably send him to East because I think, yeah, there's more East pitchers than there is West. So we'll send him to East. And we'll send him the pitchers, and let's do left-handed since I think I did right-hand on the other one. And we'll do based on maybe his velocity. Yeah, something like that. And I think that is good for those being set up. But yeah, I don't really know what we want to get at the draft once we get there. Like, there is definitely some good pitcher prospects. Like, this guy's only 18, and his ETA is 2023, so he actually might be one of the better prospects. And then we could also probably go for some good infielders as well, because we definitely need the pitching help for sure. Okay, so that is set up and ready to go. I don't know if we're going to do the draft in this episode. We might actually do the draft in this episode, and you guys could suggest me trades for after the draft or something like that. Like, the draft is what day? It said on April the 1st. Or actually, that's where we actually are right now. When is the draft? 62 days from now. Which I don't know what day that is. It's probably at the start of June. We could always just sit and put sim to draft days, so we'll probably just do that. And I don't think it will put us right into the draft right away. So yeah, we're gonna just sim right up to the draft, and we're gonna turn off the critical situations for now. So Willie Castro's been injured. We'll just go auto on some of this stuff because I don't really want to play around with that too much. Victor Reyes has also been injured. Jeez, a lot of guys get injured so quick. Auto utilize as well. But yeah, we're not off to a great start. We have there's a couple series wins at least. Damn, the sim engine's really fast too in this game. And let's continue simulating. We're losing more games. Yeah, we're not off to a good start, which is realistic because we should not be that great. There's a couple series where we're actually winning a couple games in, which is good. So Wilson Ramos is back. That's good. Let's actually stop the simulation for now. How many days till the draft? Only 13 days already. How's the scouting doing? Scouting is kind of getting some decent balanced results. We should probably address specific players for like the last 13 days up to the draft. So if we sort our pitching stuff by year, I think I'll scout this guy a little bit more. So let's get this guy to get scouted. Actually, what the heck? I'm sorting it. I didn't want to sort it. We're going to assign this player to that scout, and then this guy we're going to assign to something else. Let's go assign this guy to another starting pitcher, somebody that's been decently scouted. Looks like we could, yeah, we'll probably assign him to Gerald Martin. Assign him, and we'll assign these guys to some infielders. Like this guy, potentially. We'll assign him, Mark Messias, and then this guy we will assign to this Kurt Young dude. So those 4 guys we will try and scout out a little bit more. Actually, Kurt Young has not really scouted that much, but and we'll just leave it. Why not? Let's advance a day. Get that done with. Go back to the scouting thing. Go back to starting pitcher and sort this again. So Gerald Martin's almost fully scouted. He's looking like probably a 75 potential, which is not great. Yeah, there's probably a lot better options out there. I don't know if our scouts are doing a great job. Like, they all don't have the greatest efficiency except for Will Stratton. Let's go back to here and then go back down to, because we want to make sure these scouts get the best player as possible, which might not be very easy. We'll assign this guy to who was it that I was scouting for first baseman? It might have been one of these guys. I don't know. I'll just assign him there. Assign this guy to, who was it that I had down here? Oh, this guy must not have been that good. We'll assign it to Mr. George Farrar. Get that scouted. And then this. That's to another pitcher. Probably a starting pitcher. Actually, we could try and scout like this relief pitcher, but he's not that great. At least that's not what it looks like. We'll assign it to this dude, and that is good there. Advance another day. I could technically change it every single day, but I don't know if I will do that. Let's go back to the calendar. Go here. Sim through date. Yeah, I think I'll just let it auto scout up to the draft. So let's sim right to the draft day. Hopefully it doesn't put us into the draft right away. But if it does, then we will do the draft in this episode. So it looks like we lost somebody on waivers. I don't know why the AI put somebody on waivers. 25-year-old relief pitcher. Goddamn. I don't know why the game is putting 25-year-olds down. Okay, so we are at the draft in almost in 1 day. Let's take a look at what we got in terms of scouted players. So by all positions, if we sort this by ETA, yeah, we don't really have a great set of who's actually the #1 pick. Like, some of these guys have 2022 ETA, but they might not actually be 2022. So I should have probably scouted individual players the entire time, but that would have taken a lot longer of a time to sim up to this point. But there is a closing pitcher in Phil Red who looks pretty decent. but he is already 22. His ETA is next season. In terms of current, he has not great stamina. His hits per 9 innings is pretty good, actually. And in his Ks, his strikes are above average. His base on balls, I think that is average. His home runs in 9 is above average. His control is above average. Yeah, this guy looks like a pretty good closing pitcher. Yeah, he might be one of our top options to get a good closer like Phil Red. So yeah, Phil Red I think would be pretty good if we wanted to go for somebody like him. If we wanted to look at starting pitchers though, there is Chauncey. Oh, Chauncey McElroy looks good too. 80 overall, 2023 ETA, so he's not going to be good for next season. But he's only 18, which is really good. Now his attributes, his stamina is well above average. Same with his per 9. His strikes per 9 is below average, or like in between below average and average. His base on balls is above average. His home runs in 9 is around average as well. But all his potential looks really good. So yeah, this guy could be a very good steal. So I think if we have a decent pick, we should probably go for Chauncey or for that closer. Because our pitching staff, our pitching prospects, we don't really have a lot of those, I don't think. There's also some other guys like Andy Weinstein, who looks also pretty good. Like it's really tough for me to actually tell who's going to be the great. He's have average injury risk, low injury risk for Chauncey, which is good. So yeah, Chauncey might be still my favorite player to get in this draft, even though he does have an extra year ETA over that 2022 closer. There's also Andy Weinstein, who's 2024 though. There's Kenny Bayer, who's 2025 plus, which is okay considering he's 18. But we would have to wait a lot longer, which I think could be reasonable because the fact that our team is not going to be good for a while still. But I still think Chauncey McElroy might be the best option if we're looking to take a a pitcher in our first round selection. Now, if we wanted to go for somebody that's an infielder, I'll just go through this kind of quickly. If we wanted to go through an infielder of some sort, there is potentially Fernando Valdez, who doesn't look great. Yeah, there's a couple guys that are potentially 22, but are going to come in 2022, but yeah, I don't know if they're going to be actually that good. Like, we could take a look. This guy's not fully scouted yet, but he could be a really good player too. And then if we go by second base, there's also some other guys that could be 2022 that are pretty young. Yeah, it's pretty much up in the air on who we want to get, I think, because I feel like we should probably go for pitchers. I might actually do the draft in this episode, or I might leave it up to you guys, but I don't know if any of you guys are really familiar with how the drafting works. And it's like, I already did one draft in a different franchise mode, and I did actually pretty good with the draft, so I'm pretty sure I'm decent at guessing who's actually good and who isn't. Let's just go by all players. So there's an 18-year-old that might go be ETA as 2022, but his potential's not great. Yeah, I think our best option is to go with a pitcher. But there is a lot of different players. Yeah, I think Chauncey McElroy is the obvious option. And then that closing pitcher that we were looking at before in Phil Red looks pretty solid, even though actually he would be in the MLB next season, potentially. Or even in AAA or something. This is what his overall is right now, it says, but so some of these guys actually have some pretty high overalls. Let's actually sort this all by overall. But then again, with overall, it doesn't really matter about overall, it's more about the potential. Like, this guy's got a decent chance of being a good overall player and good potential, but his accuracy is not there yet, so it might be not accurate. But there's a couple guys that could be 75 pluses. But I think I'm fine with taking either Phil Red or that other starting pitcher. There's also this closer that's 18 and 80 overall. So this guy actually might be a better option than Phil Red because he's younger. He does have 1 extra year ETA, but still that could be a good option. So there is Jeffrey Martins. But yeah, anyways, I think that's pretty much it. Let's also take a look at, is there anything else we could take a look at? Let's take a look at this. Let's skip remaining notifications. Let's take a look at how our players have been doing so far for this year in case we want to be making trades and stuff like that at some stage. So Matthew Boyd is off to a pretty solid start, actually. His record is not great, but he's got a pretty solid whip. His ERA is not that bad either, but his whip is really good, I think. Spencer Turnbull, not been good, 2-7. Yeah, I don't really like Spencer Turnbull's plays so far. Anybody that's been really solid, okay, this starting pitcher barely played Matt Manning, but he's been playing pretty good in those 3.2 innings he's played. Let me take a look at some of our actual players. So Miguel Cabrera this year, 5 home runs, 21 RBI, so he's actually playing pretty solid. 278 average is pretty good as well, so he might be playing a little bit better than he is in real life. What else we got here? Jonathan Scoop is really cold apparently, so he's been on a little bit of a downfall. But if you guys want me to make trades, just let me know who we should be getting and stuff like that in the next episode and who we should be getting away. Willie Castro has a really good average at 19 at-bats. Nico Gundrum as well, a 305 average at 151 bats. It's pretty good. And then there's a 300 average from Cole Peterson. So we're getting some good stuff from some of our guys. Some of our guys are struggling, like Victor Reyes, who was recommended to be traded. He's got a 211 average. And then Akil Badu has got a 218. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Detroit Tigers franchise mode. So in next episode, we will have the draft and pick up whatever players you guys think are the best options for us. And then we'll continue simulating a little bit. We're only, I don't know how much games are in a regular season. I think it's over 100, right? So we're only like 56 games into the season. And we're bottom of our division, which makes sense. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. So yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. And I'll see you guys next time.